60 plus mile per hour, a narrower band of 80 plus mile per hour. And so they don't claim that Ames had more than, like, I guess, 79 mile per hour winds. And these intermittent 100 plus areas, and there's Tama County over here on the right, Marshalltown, Boone is right there. So,
right. I found this interesting, Jeff. Just real quick, I wanted to add, so my son lives in a small town south of Ames. It's right in that green swath of intermittent 100 miles per hour.
Okay.
He finally got power back yesterday afternoon after 9 days. And in that path, many roofs were blown off of houses. So the damage does look like from a major tornado down there. But he said, when he got up into Ames, the south part of the city, he's thinking, oh, it didn't look very bad at all. But when he got to my house, which is at the very north edge of the city, he was commenting, we had a street light a few blocks from us that was blown down on the ground. It was bent 90-degree angle, 1 foot above the ground.
Wow.
Speed limit sign was snapped off. The metal snapped at the base, and the damage was much worse. So, that basically the 80-degree line or 80 mile per hour line there is kind of across the north side of the city. This is, there's no weather instruments. I have a friend, another meteorology professor, has a weather station. I said, well, how high did the winds get at your house? 14 miles per hour, because the power failed, 3 minutes before the winds really hit. So there's no data in a lot of these areas. So this is an estimate.
Yeah.
But I would say the general concept is correct, that the original swath missed Ames to the south, but where there's, fuzziness, we're not sure, is where did the next swath start. And I would bring probably that blue area down more into the north half of the city.
Yeah. This is preliminary, so I expect this will get revised considerably before it's all said and done. Okay, so last thing I wanted to ask you, and this is a comment that you've made to me, and I'm going to just get rid of some of the other stuff that's on the screen so that it's not in the way. So you've made comments to me about what you feel is an inadequate approach by the Weather Service currently to really do proper justice warnings for these types of events. I was wondering if you'd like to just talk a little bit about why you feel that way and what you think might be a good approach to change the warning system.
Sure. The National Weather Service did make some changes years ago that the Weather Service offices can put more specific values of wind in the mornings. So the standard is severe thunderstorm warning, 60 mile an hour winds expected. So and that's what I think was first being issued on this storm. Then it was getting closer to Ames. They said 70, and then as it was hitting, they upped it to 80. But the average person doesn't read all the lines in there. They only see severe thunderstorm warning, and it's one size fits all. In 1999, when the F5 tornado was approaching the Oklahoma City metro area, the Weather Service office there realized this is unlike an ordinary tornado. We've got to do something. And so they created, for the first time ever, probably against the rules, a tornado emergency. Well, once they did that, has stuck with us because people could really see the value. And so someone after this event said, there should be a severe thunderstorm emergency type statement. In fact, one of the memes going around on social media here in Iowa about 5 to 10 years ago, many cities decided to start blowing the tornado sirens for severe thunderstorms that had winds over 70 miles an hour. And most people, including me, thought this is absolutely stupid. Now you don't know the difference between a tornado. Whenever they do this, I instantly get lots of text messages from friends. Is there a tornado? Is there a tornado? No, it's just the wind. But the meme basically says something to the effect of, it's stupid to blow the sirens for just a severe thunderstorm. And then it's signed, said no Iowan ever again. So, a lot of people said blowing the sirens actually caught their attention. Plus, it's just getting very dark and it was such a murky morning. I think the sirens blowing for people became sort of this trigger. Wow, something is really different about this event that's going to happen. But it should be in the warning. So many warnings get issued because one spot might hit 58 miles per hour. And so the average person sitting in a severe thunderstorm warning maybe sees 30 to 40 mile an hour winds, maybe not any hail. And it just seems like I could have continued walking with my umbrella and probably been fine. You know, this event's covering counties, and you could die if you were outside. So yeah, I think they really should, you know, use what happened with tornadoes. Since we already have a tornado emergency, why not do the same for severe thunderstorms that are basically part of a derecho? There were enough storm reports coming in from the west with measurements above 70 and even above 80 that, you know, I think it would have been pretty obvious that, okay, this one means business.
Well, maybe this event will be the impetus, just like the F5 was in Oklahoma City, to change the system in a way that's positive and has benefits without adding to, I guess, what I would call warning fatigue, as you kind of described before.
Right. Yeah. You know, the weird thing in this whole event too is when I think about how little advance notice there was, like the day before, we all go to bed thinking it wasn't going to have any rain even on that day. It's a miracle that there weren't more people killed or seriously injured. I can't even explain it because I know most people don't really take severe thunderstorm warnings seriously. And this one, you know, some of the people in Norman at the Severe Storms Lab were asking me specific questions as they try to create guidelines to judge wind speed from trees being blown down. And I realized, I think 80% of the houses in my neighborhood, if somebody was outside, they could have died because the size of the branches or the entire trees that were coming down meant, you know, there was great potential for a lot of loss of life or serious injury. And I think there's only four deaths that we know about so far. There were hundreds of injuries, I know, in the Cedar Rapids hospitals, but most were from the cleanup process, which if you've ever experienced a hurricane, I think that's pretty normal there too.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think that's about all I have. Do you have any final comments, or can we wrap this up for this extended Daily Bolt interview, probably part 3?
Right. You know, again, I think the only thing I would point out is that this one shows that we still are definitely not perfect in meteorology. That, you know, I just learned yesterday there's a very famous bike trail in central Iowa that's very popular, and people were on the trail when this hit, and that was pretty much passing through that 100-mile-per-hour swath south of my town, and they ended up sheltering in a bathroom complex that is near one town. And the person specifically, when they mentioned this, said, I did look at radar and I did look at the weather forecast before I left. And I thought about it, they would have been hit about 10:30 in the morning. At 8:30 in the morning, there was no severe thunderstorm watch in Iowa.
That's
the one
right.
that was in effect implied it was going to go across northern Iowa if you just based it on the shape of the watch. You know, and on radar, you would have said, oh, there's a storm out in northeast Nebraska, but it's probably going to miss us. So I would, you know, tell your viewers, you know, you have to be careful. You know, things like this can actually happen. If it was me that morning, I think if I had gone out on my bike, I would have been looking at my phone constantly, because in the back of my mind, I would have thought there's a chance this thing might, you know, come down further south and it could be bad.
And while you're looking at your phone, you're running into pedestrians.
Right. And I would probably be injured for a different reason.
Do not look at your phone while you're riding your bike. All right. Well, thanks so much, Bill. I really appreciate it. I hope that the listeners and viewers will get a lot out of this, and maybe we'll have you on again sometime in the future, maybe to talk about something else that's not happening in your backyard.
Right. I would say, please don't bring another disaster here. So.
Yeah. Well, watch out for that ammonia and the raccoons.
Yeah. Well, I think they've stayed away, but that might be because they all get killed by falling trees now. So.
No, poor raccoons. Anyway, thanks so much, and we'll talk to you soon.
Okay.